There's a tactic I used to use that I called Pee Wee Herman. I don't use it anymore, at least by that name, partly because the name has been compromised. Let's just leave it at that. The tactic was a simple one that I named after Pee Wee Herman because of the movie Pee Wee Herman's Great Adventure, whatever it was. And in that movie, he gets into a kind of childish argument with another person, and his common retort is, "That's what you are, what am I? That's what you are, what am I?" And it reminds me that there are some points of view, or rather some objections to our point of view, that turn out to apply equally to a lot of views, and in many cases, the view that the person themselves is holding. So one could say, with regards to the challenge to our view, that's what you are, what am I? That is, if the challenge applies equally to both of our views, then it doesn't adjudicate between the views, kind of cancels it out. It may be a challenge that needs to be answered. But for example, the problem of evil is a great example. When people say, how do you deal with the problem of evil as a follower of Christ, as a theist? Well, I have to answer that, but I'm not the only one who has to answer it. Everybody's got to answer the problem of evil. So the question isn't how do you answer that opposed to others who don't have to answer it. The question is, which worldview gives the best characterization or response from the perspective of that worldview. Okay? Here's some other examples. People say, well, you can't prove your view 100%. My response is, might be, that's what you are, what am I? Of course, I never say that to people, but I'm thinking, aha, that applies to you too. Maybe you can't prove your view 100%. I never think of that as a liability personally, because that's the nature of knowledge. There's virtually nothing you can prove with absolute necessity, that there's no possibility of making a mistake there. But that applies equally on both sides. You could be mistaken is another one. That's the skeptic's response. Well, the skeptic could be mistaken as well. So be alert for those kinds of challenges that seem to apply equally to both sides, which means then that the challenge does not, to our side, doesn't improve the chances of the other side being true and ours false. It just means it doesn't adjudicate at all between them. We both have to address that. So it's not a meaningful challenge in the midst of this discussion.